Hello! Welcome back to Pdos Online. In the first module, we talked about things you need to prepare before leaving Canada. In Module 2, we discussed about how you can adjust to your new life in Canada. In Module 3, we are going to talk about your settlement in Canada. This module has 7 parts, which will tackle on things you need to consider during your first 6 months in Canada. It would be helpful to have a pen and paper with you, as this module contains a lot of useful information that you may need to take note of. Starting your life in a new country can really be overwhelming, but before you get confused, you need to identify what is the most important thing to do. First things first, open a bank account. Take note that majority of payments in Canada are through banking and online transactions. Having a personal bank account allows you to purchase products and other services. It will also help you in managing your financial transactions and achieving your long-term financial goals. Canada is the top country in the world embracing cashless technology. Debit cards and credit cards are widely accepted across Canada. However, the extent to which you can use a foreign issued card and the fees that apply depend on the card company and the type of account you have set up with them. Here are some steps to follow when opening a bank account. Do your research. It is important that you look for a bank that suits your lifestyle as well as your goals. You may search the internet or you may opt to ask your relatives and friends for the recommendations of a good and trusted bank. Decide on which type of account suits you best. Familiarize yourself with the different types of accounts. Know which suits your needs based on your financial capacities. Again, you may opt to ask the bank representatives to explain the differences of each account. Prepare all requirements. Each bank has its own requirements for creating a new account. Make sure to prepare all the documents needed before heading to the bank. The standard requirements of banks for new accounts are: Number 1. Social insurance number. Number 2. Valid identification card with photo. When all your documents are ready and all your questions have been answered, you may now go to your bank and create a new account. Remember, do not sign any contract unless you had carefully read and fully understood its content. One of the first things you should do upon arrival in Canada in case you do not have a ready accommodation is to find a place to live. Ask yourself, would it be best for me to rent an apartment or buy my own house? Before you make a choice, it is important that you evaluate your options properly. Buying a house is a good long-term investment. But before buying one, you should ask yourself, do I plan to stay in one location? Do I have funds for down payment and closing costs? Can I afford the maintenance costs of owning a house like repairs and lawn care? Do I want to build equity over the long term? Do I want potential tax advantage? If your answers to those questions are yes, go ahead and buy your own house by following these steps. Assess your budget. Before entering into a long-term commitment of renting or buying a house, you must determine how much you can afford and how much you are willing to pay. You should take into consideration your income, credit card rating, daily expenses, and the ballpark cost of the housing, its down payment and interest rate. Know your rights. Make sure that you are familiar with both your rights and responsibilities as a homeowner. You may visit the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation or the website www.cmch-schl.gc.ca to know more about rights as a homeowner and affordable housing in Canada. Avail of a loan. Check the internet, magazines, newspapers, or banks for available loans and study them in order to arrive at an option that best suits your terms. You may try to negotiate on the price, down payment, and interest rates. Take note that you might find it difficult to get a loan shortly after you arrived in Canada since you have yet to earn enough credit score. Learn more about home buying programs. Visit the CMHC website to learn more about home buying programs in your province and CMHC's special home buying programs. Shop for a new home. Before you get excited, you should first decide on what your priorities are. What kind of community you want to live in. Do you prefer to live near a church, supermarket, or hospital? It's a good idea to bring a checklist with you when making house visits so you don't miss anything important. Make an offer. With notes and a checklist on hand, you can easily compare different houses you will visit. Discuss it with your family and decide a home that best suits your family needs. Have a home inspection. Before considering a home inspection, you will not forget about anything that you would like to know about your soon-to-be home. Close the deal. Make sure that you have read and understood the terms and conditions before you agree to sign your contract. Do not hesitate to ask if there's something you do not understand. Also, you might think of the possibility of renting a house or apartment. If you want to move around and do not want to get tied in one location. If you do not have the funds for a down payment and closing costs. If you cannot afford the potential maintenance costs of owning a house like repairs and lawn services. And if you are saving for the future, then renting is indeed the right choice. The steps will guide you through. First of all, you must take a look at your financial situation and determine how much you can afford to pay. You must also consider your preferences, including the number of rooms you need, parking space availability, safety, and the security and access to establishments. Find a house for rent. You can check the local newspapers to see available houses or apartments for rent in your area. You may check the internet, ask your friends or relatives of possible places to rent, or consider hiring a real estate broker. Lastly, you may also walk around and look for the for rent signages in your area. Remember, check and compare all available options before you decide. Submit an application. Fill out the rental application form and pay the corresponding dues. You may also need to pay a deposit equivalent to 2 months' rent. You may also be required to show proof of income and identification card. Sign a lease. Upon completion and verification of your application, the landowner will ask you to sign a lease. Read it carefully and understand the terms and conditions before you close the deal. Remember, it is very important that you are familiar with all your rights and responsibilities as a homeowner. You need to mindfully decide on what you or your family is committing to. For more information, you can visit the CMHC website www.cmhc-schl.gc.ca. The mental and physical well-being of all residents in Canada is promoted and protected by the Canada Health Act of 1984. The Medicare or the public health funded system in Canada facilitates reasonable access to medical and health services without the financial barriers as it is funded by the taxpayers' money. As permanent residents, you and your family may be eligible to avail the health insurance care plan in the province where you reside. Healthcare plans cover basic medical services but may also vary depending on the province or territory. Certain people or groups in Canada, such as children, senior citizen, and social assistant recipients, may be eligible to supplemental coverage such as ambulance service, vision care, dental care, and prescription drugs. You should know what are the medical services that is not covered by the health insurance plan of your province. Service that is not covered by the health insurance plan of your province or territory must be paid out of your pocket or through private health insurance plan. The standard requirements for health insurance plan are: Number 1, proof of residency. Number 2, social insurance number. Number 3, valid identification card with photo. After gathering the supporting documents, submit your application, including the complete requirements, to your local healthcare insurance plan office, provincial health ministry, or authorized registry agent in your province or territory. Reminder: in some provinces, health insurance coverage starts 3 months after approval of application. Ask your provincial health ministry how long is the wait period to get a health insurance. It is advised to consider buying a short-term private health insurance plan for you and your family to cover this period. You have to ensure that your qualifications and important documents from your country are accredited. Before you move to Canada, you must collect and secure all academic and professional documents such as transcript of records, diplomas, certificates of training or seminar and employment. It is advised to have all your documents translated and authenticated by competent authority before you leave your country. It is your responsibility to verify with authorities if your profession is regulated by a province or territory and ensure that you meet all the requirements before you can practice your profession. Bear in mind that there is no single entity or governing body in Canada where you can apply for accreditation. More information about accreditation of foreign qualifications will be explained thoroughly in the employment module later. Canada observes the K+12 program, except for the province of Quebec. The program was recently adopted by the Philippines. The Government of Canada provides free public education for children. You may enroll your child in a private school, but tuition fee is relatively expensive. The school year starts from September until June. Education system in Canada covers nursery, pre-kindergarten, kindergarten. After kindergarten, the children will be assessed if they are fit to move to the first grade. In general, the levels of study in Canada are elementary from 1st to 6th grade, middle school from 7th to 9th grade, high school from 10th to 12th grade. Children in the province of Quebec attend high school from grade 7 to 11 and then transfer to general and vocational college for another 2 or 3 years. Students who successfully completed high school education will be issued a secondary school diploma to get into college or university. College or university education in Canada are not free. Students who cannot afford to pay for college tuition can apply for financial aid given by the Government of Canada. You may visit www.canada.ca/en.html for more information. You may consider enrolling at a community college which offers 2-year course programs. This is a less expensive option. However, most professional jobs in Canada require college or university education. There are also vocational programs in Canada that allow students to practice their chosen career right after college. You may visit the EduCanada website to know more about the educational system in Canada. Enhancing your communication skills will allow you to function effectively in a community and help you be more confident in facing other people. It is important that you understand the different techniques on how to improve your English or French skills and to identify what method works best for you. Here are different ways on how you can improve your English skills. Join an English or French class. Identify your level of proficiency and find an English or French class near your area. You may take the Canadian Language Benchmark online self-assessment language test even before you come to Canada. You may visit a language assessment center or the Center for Canadian Language Benchmarks website, www.language.ca/home/ for more information. Enroll in online English or French class. You can also learn English or French at the comfort of your home by enrolling in online courses. This is a good option for those who have limited time and budget to learn English or French. Hire a private tutor. It may be very expensive to hire a private tutor. However, private lessons allow you to learn at the comfort of your home and your own pacing. You may check with language schools for private tutors in the vicinity or ask your relatives or friends for referral. You can also practice your English or French skills by conversing with locals in your community from time to time. Each of us has our own style when it comes to learning, so find a way that works best for you. As a migrant, it is important that you know where to get help. The emergency hotline in Canada is 911. It caters emergency cases, particularly incidents of fire, crime in progress, vehicular collision, especially if someone is injured, or any medical emergency. The 911 operators are trained to respond immediately to your needs. Just make sure that you are prepared to supply them with important information about the incident. Canada also provides mental health support for someone who is going through a crisis or thinking about suicide. The Canadian Association for Suicide Prevention has a list of crisis centers in Canada. You may visit their website www.suicideprevention.ca/need-help- for this purpose. You may call the following hotlines based on your need. For First Nations and Inuit Hope for Wellness, the hotline is 1-855-242-3310. For Kids National Helpline, for 20 years of age and under, the hotline is 1-800-668-6868. For Canadian Indian Residential School Crisis, the hotline is 1-866-925-4419. For Trans Lifeline, the hotline is 1-877-330-6366. Crisis text line is also accessible to youth anywhere in Canada by texting TALK to 686868 for English-speaking crisis responder, or text to 686868. Other important numbers in Canada that you can contact are the Crisis Services Canada 1-833-456-4566, Canadian Red Cross 1-800-418-1111. Your local community offers numerous services from public schools, police, fire department, local courts to hospitals, and animal or pest control centers. It is a good idea to get the numbers of these important offices and include it on your directory. Canada also has a community organization called the Immigrant Service Organization. The organization provides support and assistance for immigrants by offering a range of services from legal assistance to free classes of various kinds. The Government of Canada has a list of specific community organizations in Canada in their website, www.cic.gc.ca/english/newcomers/services/index.asp. The info kit for Filipinos migrating to Canada also contains the list of Filipino associations and organizations in Canada. You may refer to the info kit and check if there are Filipino associations and organizations present in your area. Please take time to contact the different immigrant service organizations in your area and inquire about the services they are offering. It is also helpful to know about the different agencies in Canada and their respective services and priorities. Remember, you and your family must be familiarized with these offices and their emergency numbers. It would be really helpful if you could make a list of these emergency numbers beside your telephone or keep it in your wallet. Congratulations! This ends Module 3 of your Pre-Departure Orientation Seminar, or Pdos. We hope you were able to take note of the important details you will be needing during your first 6 months in Canada. Before you proceed to the 4th module, which will talk about building a support network, don't forget to answer the questionnaire. We strongly advise that you proceed with Module 4 only after getting an above average score on the questionnaire. See you!